This is Mary from Very Mary Inspired, and I wanted to share with you some techniques that I use to clean up my artwork. I've brought it into Photoshop, and we're going to show you a quick tutorial on how I clean up the artwork after you've sketched it. So basically, this is the leaf that I shared on Insta Story. So if you missed it, I did a quick tutorial using watercolor pencils. On the left-hand side, I colored it with I outlined it with a graphite pencil first, and then I outlined it with the watercolor pencil, and then I added water to it to give the watercolor effect, and then lastly I outlined it in a black ink. On the right hand side, you'll see that I outlined the leaf using the watercolor pencil first. So I didn't outline it with the pencil. I went straight on the paper with the watercolor pencil. And then I did the same thing by using the edge of the pencil. I created more of a side stroke on the leaf. And as you can see, you see these little blemishes on the outside here. That's what I want to show you today. I want to show you how to clean this up in Photoshop. If you're new to Photoshop, it's really easy to sign up. All you have to do is go onto adobe.com. If you are on the fence about purchasing, because it is a monthly subscription now, it used to be that you could purchase a software or a disk and then you could download it and then you own it forever. But Adobe has now offered it as a monthly subscription, which is kind of a neat way to test out the product. So you can sign up, do a trial with them, and then if you like it, you can purchase the monthly subscription. For me, I have the Adobe Suite, which offers both Illustrator and Photoshop, as well as the other Adobe products, but mainly I use Illustrator and Photoshop when I'm cleaning up artwork. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take your sketch. Let's imagine you've sketched something and there's some blemishes you want to clean up. What I want you to do is I want you to take it into any scanner that you have. I have a printer, scanner, fax machine all in one, and mine is an HP, but you can use any brand that you have at home. And then what I want you to do is I want you to scan it at a high resolution of at least 300 dpi. And then save it as a JPEG. Make sure you save it in color if your drawing is a color sketch. And then all I did was I saved it onto my desktop and then I dragged it on. And this is what you're seeing right now. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in on this because I like to clean up and get in a little bit more detail here. So I'm going to go into the top bar where it says View. And then I'm going to zoom in. So when you press zoom in, you'll see these little icons on the right. These are the shorthand keys that as you use more Photoshop, you'll start to familiarize yourself with these shorthand keys so that you don't have to always go to the menu and use it. So what this says is I need to press the Command key, which is the button right next to your space bar. Hopefully, I'm working on a Mac. And I have a unique keyboard. So for me, my command button is right next to the spacebar. And then they want you to press the plus sign at the same time. So if I do that simultaneously, let me get out of the screen, I'm going to be able to zoom in. So all I did was press Command and plus, and it zoomed in on my leaf. And this is, the one on the right is the one I want to clean up. Okay? So then you're going to go to your left Tools panel, and then you're going to go and find the eraser tool. For me, it looks like a diagonal rectangle, half filled in, and it's about the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th button down. And if you click it, you'll see that a round circle appears. Okay, that's the space in which, that's the size of your eraser and where you're going to be erasing. What I want you to do is press and hold on to that icon, and then three options appear for you. And I want you to press the first one. So continue to press down on your mouse and then drag it over to the erase tool and unclick, just to make sure that that's the right option you're choosing. So now you see the circle. The circle for me is a little too small, so I'm going to go up to the top here. Right now it says 14 and this dot. that's the size of your eraser head, okay? So then when you press this upside down arrow, you're going to see a circle, and you're going to see the size and the hardness, and then all of these different types of eraser heads, okay? So I'm going to leave it as their default head, and then I'm just going to change the size of the tip. And if you move your cursor over to the right, you'll start to see the size of the eraser. And that's basically to help you know where you're erasing. The hardness section here is set at 100%. This is basically to show the rigidness of the eraser, right? So if you want it to be a little bit softer on the edge, you might bring it down a little further. For me, I'm going to keep it at 100%. Okay, now click off of that, and I'm happy with the size of my eraser head. So I'm just going to go in very carefully, erase the edge of that leaf. See, I don't want to go all the way too tight because the eraser, I want to get most of the eraser marks out. And when I get to the edge of the leaf, I'm going to change it up by changing the size of my eraser head there. Okay, so I'm going to get close enough, but not so close that I cut into my leaf. So then I'm going to zoom in one more time, and then at the bottom you can kind of move the bars so that the leaf is within your frame. Okay, and then as you can see, I'm going to go back into the size of my head there and then reduce the size to make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to go a little tinier than that. Okay, maybe, and you can even go up here and type in, let's say I'll type in 10. Okay, so that feels good to me. I'm going to click off of that window, and then I'm going to start very carefully, you'll see some on the side there, very carefully touching up the edges, okay, trying not to, if accidentally you go into the leaf too far, you can press Command Z, and that brings you back to the most, it undoes your most previous step. So in between that, I'm trying to get real tight into this. You can zoom in even more, just because I want to get pretty close. Having these tools is really useful because a lot of the times I don't want to sketch the entire drawing all over again, so I'll pull it into Photoshop and just clean it up. Especially if I'm doing client work and I'm presenting this or something for my clients are generally the designers that are presenting it to their clients. So I want to make sure it's clean. If I have some blemishes, I want to make sure I clean it all up. So we do offer custom sketches for designers as well. But if you're doing this for your own presentation, it's a good idea to learn some of these Photoshop tools because it can save you sitting there redrawing something that might have taken you a few hours to do. This will save you some time. And so as you can see, I'm just going around the leaf, just getting as close as I can to the edge. Okay. And then I'm going to zoom back out. So to zoom out, you press the subtraction sign, and it pulls your image back out, okay? And then I want to get in a little bit tighter at the top there. And you can use your cursor. You don't have to use these sidebars. You can use the mouse and flick the mouse so that it shifts the image. So before I said you can use these sidebars to move it, but you can also flick. If you take like your middle finger and move it on top of your mouse, you can also move it that way too. You just don't have as much control, but it is possible to do it that way as well. So as you can see, there's a shorthand key to fix the size of the eraser tip too by just right-clicking on your mouse, okay? And then clicking back off when you're ready. So you don't have to go all the way up to the top here to change the tip. You can always right-click, and then that menu bar pops up as well, okay? So there you have it. It's really that simple. I'm going to zoom back out so you can see the cleaned up version. And then to save this, I'm going to save as, and I want to make sure that it's a JPEG, and I'm going to rename this after leaf. And then I make sure that it's saved as a JPEG, and then I save as. I already have one on my desktop, so I'm going to replace mine. But for yours would be a new whatever artwork it is, and then you're going to replace it. Okay, and then this window shows up, and then I'm not going to change anything to it because it's already at its maximum quality. So it's quality 12 maximum. It's a large file, and then I'm going to press OK. And there you have it. That's how you save your